This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of July 31st, 2017. We are entering the most monumental month of the year, possibly in as long a time as any of us can remember. So many influences are overlapping, coinciding, and in many instances interlocking in such a way that it's really going to be difficult to single them out. This week does bring a couple of atmospheric shifts that will be immediately noticeable, and that will be the undercurrent to the really big stuff that does play out. A pronounced sensitivity is descending upon all of us. In some cases, it could be poutiness and taking things personally, but in many cases, we will have much more sweetness and kindness and tenderness at our disposal, and especially in our closer dealings with each other. Venus, the ruler of money, love, how we interact with each other, everything that we value, including our precious baubles, is moving into the sign of Cancer. Sign of home, family, tradition. Clucking, nurturing, nesting, making food for each other, looking after our own, however we may define that, and possibly dealing with some home and family issues, all coming to the fore. I don't normally mention the outermost planets going retrograde in my podcasts, as short as they are. This week, however, I am going to point out that Uranus is going stationary retrograde, and I have two reasons for doing this. The first is Uranus is traveling with Saturn all year long in a very easy flow of energy, and they are paradoxically and simultaneously brewing inner developments, enterprising, energetic developments into form, and also blasting the status quo apart. Blasting previous life philosophies, beliefs, even aspects of our legal system. They have been traveling for a while with Saturn retrograde and Uranus direct, which has been adding to some of the fieriness for a few weeks. This month they will both be retrograde, traveling together, likely to shed light on, burn away some things that have been brewing behind the scenes or from the past. And then late in the month, Saturn will station direct, and the easy flow of energy between them will once again get ramped up, fueled, have flame accelerant thrown more and more and more onto it. And possibly we will begin to see some of the new thought structures coming out of their teaming. And the second reason I bring up Uranus going retrograde is because that planet is the ruler of the first eclipse we'll have in August, which is the Aquarius full moon lunar eclipse coming on the 7th. Watch for the emotional cresting, emotional ramping up to really go into higher gear at this point as we move toward that eclipse. And for revelations, particularly about past actions, coming faster and more furiously. And in the midst of this, an evolutionary aspect kicks in again that is going to play out over the course of the next 2 months. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, in the sign of our social contracts and contacts, the agreements that we make with each other. Jupiter in Libra, pressuring Pluto, the lord of death, rebirth, regeneration, profound transformation, in Capricorn, the sign of our structures, infrastructures, foundation, the institutions on which we build our lives and country. This aspect is pushing tectonic shifts. Stuff's going to come up from the underbelly like you'd think there couldn't be more to see, but we're all going to see it. This applies personally as well as on a collective level. And the final release point, or the most noticeable release point for all of this, probably will not happen until late September, when Jupiter finishes the tension by pushing off Uranus, the other cosmic change agent. There is a bit of a replay now of energies that were ramped up in March this year. So it isn't necessarily doom and gloom at all. Think of what started to blossom, to grow, to develop in your own life during the month of March, and see August and September as a slow build of some of that. And looking ahead, we have the next Mercury retrograde of the year starting on the 13th after the lunar eclipse. I've been hearing tales from a lot of people that sound as if it's already started. This retrograde is going to be in the sign of Virgo, which is incredibly practical and earthbound and geared toward improvement. So, things that really do need to be fixed are very likely going to be stressed during that retrograde. If you need to upgrade any kind of technology, probably be better off doing it now. And there's more on all that in my guide at ohmtimes.com about handling Mercury retrograde in 2017. Homing thought of the week: be kind. No matter what, be kind. Song of the week: Mind of a Child by Julie Tippetts, Tippetts, who originally began her career as Julie Driscoll, singer of Wheels on Fire, which is the theme song for Absolutely Fabulous. And this song, Mind of a Child, is well worth tracking down. It is on YouTube. And the image of the week is pulling a rubber band, tauter and tauter and tauter, but not shooting it just yet. You'll learn more about all of this in my forecast for the month of August, which is posted at empowermentunlimited.net, and also in two events on Friday, August 4th. The first is my bi-weekly Astro Chat, which will be about the lunar eclipse at noon Eastern Daylight Time at the Ohm Times Magazine Facebook page, and it will be available in video form on my Empowerment Unlimited page afterwards. And then my talk, The Great American Eclipse and You, which will discuss how it's going to affect each of the signs as well as the United States, live at 4 p.m. Friday, August 4th, and afterwards on demand at the experts.ohmtimes.com online learning platform. There is a direct link to this at my site on the calendar page, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can also sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. Anyone curious about how this affects them? You know where to find me. Talk to you next week.